What is up, everybody? All right, give me a minute. Let me see if this actually started. Um, been doing this for a couple months now, and I'm still not very good with the software yet. So, let's see. Okay, I hear myself. All right, we're gonna hop in here. Gonna hop in here a few minutes early. I figured why not. I'm not doing anything anyways. I was pretty much just sitting here waiting. So I was like, let's just hop in. Let's start it up. Let me see. Let me try to get some things set up. Oh, we gotta get the music playing. Kevin MacLeod, 2 hours. There we go. I need to put that through these headphones. Hiccups. There we go. Get that going. Now, how about make sure all the sound is working? Cool. All right, so y'all know what's up at this point. We're gonna just start out with 15, 20 minutes of just sitting here, watching me play some World of Warcraft for a few minutes while people kind of file in before we start all of the actual gaming, or not gaming, before we start the reading. Let me go in here and turn off the chat. Don't want anybody saying anything crazy and WoW. Hello there, Manic Cryptid. Zachary, good to see you in here, my friend. Jim Good, thank you for joining the channel as a member. Cameron, hope your Monday treated you well. Alley Oops, I hope your Monday treated you well too. Also, Alley Oops, hello everyone. What is up, Alley? Good to see you in here. And the Motivator, how are you, my friend? Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Man, I'm trying to get my pet to learn this certain ability, and it's just taking forever. Just trying to beat this heat. We've had a little bit of a reprieve here in Virginia lately, so that's been nice. The heat did start getting pretty crazy. I mean, we had like weeks almost of just 100-degree hot. Well, with the heat index, it was like weeks of like 110. And once the heat went away, it basically just went to. I mean, we've had. I don't know. We were on a super bad drought over here in Virginia for a while, and then we basically just had storm after storm after storm. Dex, what is up, bro? What's up? What are we playing this week? This is some good old World of Warcraft, my friend. One of the best and worst games ever made, is how I usually put it. Oh my gosh, those things burn so much mana. 10 Celsius here. Oh, yeah, y'all are in, like, winter, aren't you? It's so crazy how different the temperatures are. I mean, even when my wife and I went to Disney, like a year ago, it was crazy that, in Virginia, it was like, oh my gosh, it was snowing in Virginia. And then we just go to Florida, which is, same continent, or it's not that far away. Then we go to Florida, and it was like 80. I was like, how is it 80 when it was like 30 over here in Virginia? It was nuts. So glad to hear your voice, bro. Maybe now I can relax. I work at the only restaurant in my town, and I can't stand a few of the lazy-ass people I work with. They are driving me nuts, bro. Nothing worse than, the only thing worse than, like, shitty coworkers is a shitty boss. So I know that feeling. Got hit with 2 tornadoes in the last month. We haven't had tornadoes in northern Ohio for like 60 years. Wow. That is wild. Tornadoes are freaky things, man. I mean, their devastation is like so localized because it's, limited to just basically the tornado itself. But if that tornado goes over you, it is just horrific. One of the reasons why Twister was such a good movie. Alright, so on the agenda tonight, we have... let's see. So I got a couple stories I want done. There is a Wound Liquor, aka Mark Lynch. He sent me another story a couple days ago. I want to get that read tonight. It's a pretty short one. It's like a 35-minute story or so, so it's on the shorter side for the channel. I want to get that done tonight. There's a story, there's a long one called Hell Has a Prison that I found on the Creepypasta wiki. Might start going on for that one. Not entirely sure, but that might be one that we do. And I'll set a goal in a couple minutes here. If we hit the goal of $25 between donos and people joining the membership or gifted memberships, I will play... Some of y'all might have heard it already. Sorry, that's just how it goes. Let's see. It'll be Saturdead Story. It's called I Got an Invitation with My DNA Test. I would like to play that if we hit the dono goal. That's about a 33-minute story. That will be probably Thursday's upload because Tuesday we are going to come out with Tribal Jail Part 2. So yeah, Tuesday will be Tribal Jail Part 2. I was actually going to release that today. Some of y'all might have noticed I edited the post. It was going to come out Monday. And then I was like, because I wasn't going to live stream today. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to break the pattern here, the schedule. So I'll do the live stream Monday. We'll put out Tribal Jail Part 2 on Tuesday. And let's see. I'm also trying to get some things pre-recorded because I'm a groomsman in my cousin's wedding coming up, and I will be out of town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I want to get some things pre-recorded. That's actually why we might not do the long story tonight. The Hell Has a Prison. That's a long one. Ooh, we learned a new spell. Bite rank 6, finally. We might not actually do the Hell Has a Prison because I need to get a bunch of like 30 to 45-minute stories recorded. So, might not do the Hell as a Prison. That's a long, I think it's like 20,000 words or so, which is like 2 hours and, 20 minutes. 2 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes. Let's see. So we might do a bunch of like 30-ish minute stories. And, they don't do very well. They don't get a lot of views, those 30-minute stories, but just, do need to have something uploaded while I'm gone. Let me catch up on some chat here. Thank God my boss is awesome. She just left a while ago, and now I feel like the only adult left. The remake of Twister sucked. Yes, it did. I don't know why Hollywood can't fucking make a good remake. I'm not joking. Almost every remake or reboot of the past like 15 years from almost any franchise has been fucking awful. The Scream remakes, apparently they actually get pretty good reviews, and I've heard like people like them. I think they were fucking horrible. The Scream remakes sucked. They were awful in my opinion. The Michael Myers, absolute dog shit. I can't believe how bad those were. People like those too, though, so sorry if I'm shitting on y'all's favorite movies here. Some of the Hellraiser, an amazing franchise. Some of those have been awful. Some of them, a couple have actually, I don't know which ones because it's so hard to remember because there's so many. A couple of the Hellraisers weren't actually super bad. But yeah, the Twister remake sucked. I mean, what a cool movie, and they just ruin it. And there's something to be said too. And I never really noticed this until I watched I like to watch like video essays on YouTube. The ones that are like an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours long. And I never really noticed it. I was like, why do movies feel different? And there is a huge feelings different when Hollywood made like the big changeover from film to digital. And you're like, wow, how's it make movies worse? I mean, the quality is literally getting better. And to an extent that's true, but the quality and the picture is better, but it's like the feeling of a movie is worse, even though the film just has like man, I think I was listening to this on a podcast actually. I don't know if it was Lex Friedman, could have been Rogan, but it was a filmmaker or a guy who's big into films, and he likes to collect cameras, and he was talking about how just different films changed when they went from film to digital, and it was very true. And then I put in an old movie like Lethal Weapon, Jurassic Park, and even though they technically look worse, they feel so much better. Saturday is turning into the Kevin Hart of creepypastas. He's everywhere. Motivator, you're not wrong at all. And that's due to his prolificness, to an extent too. He just writes. I think he writes a story every single week, and if you catch a story and you record it that day and upload it that day or the next day, then yeah, good for you. You're one of the first to do it. But it's like finding stories, guys, takes so much time, and I've harped on this time and time again. It takes forever to find good stories. Saturday is just one of those where it's like, okay, he has a ton, 80% chance it's going to be a good one, so let's read it. But then it's like, but everyone else has read it, especially when you go to like 2-3 years ago. Amanda, Kevin, my stepdaughter has been moved from the ICU, $4.99. Thank you. She's doing God's better, and it's been confirmed that her dad was beating her and withholding food. I'm so sorry to hear that. The dad's so garbage. But I'm very glad, and we're all very glad that she's been moved from the ICU, and we will continue to send some prayers both of y'all's way. I appreciate the update. Thanks for letting me know. So is Jake Bible. I don't know who that is. Are you referring to Motivator's comment on him being the Kevin Hart? Let's see. Let me look him up. Jake Bible. Maybe so. Oh yeah. Okay. So, see the issue. I'm seeing a bunch of his stuff is posted to. Well, not a bunch. I don't know if it's a bunch, but some of the stuff that just comes up at a cursory glance is on the creepypasta.com page. And the creepypasta.com has a lot of great stories posted to it. The only problem is that it's like Reddit, which is fine. Like the authors retain their copyright there. So you can't narrate without permission, which is fine. But what sucks about creepypasta.com is that it's almost impossible to get in touch with the authors. When I typed up Jake Bible, it comes up with William Rain. Is that his real name or something like that? Or I don't know. I have the overnight tonight, and I'm supposed to be asleep, but this heat is horrendous, and fibromyalgia hates the heat. Fibromyalgia hates everything, doesn't it? I gotta go back to work before one of these morons burn down the kitchen. Thank you, Kevin. I will chat more when I get off work. Thank you, Zach. We may be here, may not. It might be a long night. It might be a short night. I'm not exactly sure. Doug Bradley is my only pinhead. Is that the original Clive Barker actor? Because, yeah, he's amazing. It was weird when they replaced him with a female. It's just like, everything's got to be a chick nowadays. It's like, what the hell? We don't... They want to make they want to make a woman 007. They want to make... It's just... race swapping, gender swapping is just always horrible. It's always a bad idea. The only people that you get that like it are the super radical feminists and liberals, and then you just turn off like 80% of your audience. Motivator, I just don't. It's been so long. I'd have to go through my email and look for it again. It's been so long, man. I forgot about it, to be honest with you. I apologize. It's been, if I don't get on something right away, it's easy to forget about. Just like there's a lot of authors, like I juggle talking between like 20 authors at a time, probably, between DMing people on Reddit, trying to reach out to people on emails, and then oh, what did I say to this guy? What did I say to this guy? What did I tell him? What did I tell her? Oh, this was permission, but this wasn't. It gets very daunting. Let me go ahead and start that goal, and that will, of course, I'll include the $5 already donated by Amanda. Alright, I'll set a 2-hour timer for that. It'll just say it's still dumb how you can't put just some money goal, but yeah, it'll say 5 super chats. It doesn't have to be 5 super chats. Let's see, early. And you know what? While we're kind of just messing around here, waiting for people to funnel in, let me show you all a little bit on the thumbnail process. So this is what... Oh yeah, this is the Wound Liquor story by Mark. We might be having another collab where him and I go back and forth on some things. Those things take time because it's 2 to 5 days of fleshing out ideas, and then Mark's got to write it, so that can take 3 weeks to a month. The Hell Has a Cart and Everyone Must Pull. That one took probably 3 days of back and forth, and then Mark spent 3 to 4 weeks writing it. Let me show y'all a little bit on what the thumbnail process looks like. And AI. Oh, AI sucks. We hate AI. Yeah, we all do hate AI, but every single person uses Midjourney now at this point. And then you'll see the really shitty thumbnail. Like, at least Midjourney is good, but then you see, it pains me to see smaller creepypasta narrators using ChatGPT for the thumbnails, because ChatGPT images just sucks. It makes good realistic like people images, but when you put in like when you try to get like stuff like this, it's always that like weird grainy dark brown look. Like, ugh. All right, so This is for the Saturday. I got an invitation with my DNA test. And pretty much I take whatever the story is. And then I'm like, okay. It's easy. You kind of have to. The thumbnail is the last thing that I do because you can't really make a good, convincing thumbnail until it's you can't make a thumbnail that correlates with the story until you've read the story. You got to have a good grasp of it, right? And now this one, you actually could make the thumbnail without reading the story because the title alone, I got an invitation with my DNA test. So you got to think of some ideas. You still got to be creative. So I type in a man with a surprised look on his face getting his DNA test results in a male test tube. And then I usually put in creepypasta art style at the end. Scary stories from the internet at the end. Sometimes I'll use, I haven't done this in a while, but I used to use Goosebumps cover art style for a while. Let's see. Let me check out some chat. Alrighty. Yep, hope you're okay, Manic. Hope you're okay. I know that's never fun. So these are kind of the images that comes back from these. And then you kind of got to you got to take, okay, which one do I like the most? See, the thing about this is I actually really like these, but I know they have too much of that Mid-Journey AI feel. And I know that also deters people from clicking on things sometimes. So it's like, maybe I got to do another different style. If I think I were to pick one, though, I'm not sure which one I would pick, actually. Well, let me show y'all how it goes with the Dubok the Keeper story I just did. So I kind of had an idea, it's an alien story pretty much. And I was like, okay, let's get a car, and there's a car in the story where he kind of tries to get abducted through there a little bit. So I was like, a car on a country road at night, a UFO above it trying to suck it up with a blue beam, creepypasta art style. And you kind of get, oh, this is for the one that, the haunted one too. I just did that. I mean, sometimes, guys, wow, I made this one really quick. Yeah, I just gave me an image I liked pretty fast. Sometimes I'm generating ideas for hours. So we go from this. Okay, I'm like, do I like any of these? I mean, I kind of like some of them. And then I liked, which one did I like the most? I think I liked, this one. It was this one, but then I was like, I know I want the image flipped because the text goes on the left. So you take this and you kind of just flip it around a little bit, put it in there. You upscale it, goes there. Then I didn't like ChatGPT is very good at ChatGPT is very good with editing thumbnails. So I did go to ChatGPT, plug this in, and I said, "Can you move or can you increase the contrast? I need more of that blue beam because Midjourney is it's good, but it's just not very smart in a lot of sense with telling it what you want exactly. But you tell ChatGPT, hey, I want this blue beam to be more prominent, and it's like okay, and it redoes it. And then I was like, the UFO is too dark. It's kind of hard to even see the UFO. I said increase the contrast with the UFO and make it more metallic. Okay, does that, and that's what ChatGPT is good for with thumbnails. Yeah, honestly, a lot of those images are eye-catching without you editing that in the words. Yeah, ChatGPT is also very good at putting words on stuff. Midjourney's horrible. It's just not good at it. We can get a sneak peek at what. Let's see. It doesn't matter. I was gonna show you all the new Tribal Jail story thumbnail part 2. Basically, I made this image. And then I made what is it? I made this image, and then I made this image. right? And then I told ChatGPT to, I told ChatGPT basically to transpose this on this image, and it's super good for stuff like that, like very good. I can't actually. I'm super surprised at how good it is at that without losing image quality and all that kind of stuff. And then it did, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. But I spent a long time trying to think of ways to make, because the one thing I like about the first Tribal Jail thumbnail is I kind of went with when Lighthouse's I work at a half price voodoo shop went pretty viral. Part of that legitimately is just how good the thumbnail is, how simple it is. It's just a picture of like this. It's very, very simple, not much going on. And then a little bit of text on the left. And I was like, wow, okay, that actually lends to how easily readable it is. And I wanted the same kind of thing, but and then also I can't make the part 2 thumbnail look like the part 1 thumbnail because then they're just too close together. So it gets super frustrating because you got to make. That's why another reason it's better to just do everything in one upload. Because then I have to make 3 separate thumbnails now: part 1, part 2, and then the complete. But yeah, I wanted something with very little going on, and then I was like, okay, this transpose on that. I have to make a background because I can't just have part 2 look like this because it's just too similar to part 1. And at a glance, people just aren't going to know the difference. So then they just skip over it because they're like, oh, I already saw that one. I saw part 1 already. You'd be surprised. People do not read titles. They definitely don't read descriptions. I can't tell y'all how annoying it is. And this is going to be me complaining a little bit, but it's so annoying when I have every single thing tagged in the description: title, author, where to find the author's work, if they have a website, where the author's page is. And they're like, who wrote this story? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Gosh, guys. And it's not any of y'all. It's just people are dumb, all right? And that's all I'm going to say. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And when you're on YouTube and you reach 100,000 plus people a month, you get a lot of dumbass people in the comments, just being honest. Those tribal pics are brilliant. Thank you, Alley-Oops. Thank you. All right, let's see. We've been rambling for a good little bit lately. Let me decide. Let me try to think. There's another guy that I haven't read in the channel in a while, Random Appalachian. He's got seems to be some decent stories out and some long parts, which is sweet. I also need to get. Oh, geez, gotta turn night mode on. Ugh. There we go. I do gotta get on some more 02321. It's just that a lot of the stuff that I haven't covered so far is like the super long stuff, which I can't wait to do. It's just it takes a long time. The only frustrating thing about 02321 is that he's got a decent amount of grammar issues, but that's not too bad. The stories are good, but he always finds a way to shoehorn this random gay subplot in the story that makes no sense. And I have no problem with the gay part. That's not an issue. It's just when you put it in there and didn't build it up, and then it makes no sense at all. Like, I don't know if y'all listen to the Louisiana, like I'm a cop in the Louisiana Bayou one, but that one had the most random fucking gay subplot in there that it legitimately, I was like, where did this even come from? It was out of nowhere. It made no sense. And then it was like the guy, oh man, it's been so long since I've read it, but a character in there was gay, and then this person killed their boyfriend, And then the guy that was gay went to be into a relationship with the guy who killed the boyfriend. I was like, what? Something, or husband. I was like, what the hell is this? And it's just an 02321 thing. Yeah, I don't know if that's just seems to be their hallmark, almost like Saturday and the Blue Sunflowers. Put in a weird subplot in there that makes absolutely no sense. And I wanted to cut it out, but it's not my work, you know. But I did. That was a long story, and I got to that part, and I was like, what the hell? It's just dumb. I know people are gonna complain. Comments are gonna be like, where the hell did this come from? Oh, it ruined the story because it made no sense. That's just a weird 02321 thing that just makes no sense to me. But an amazing author. I mean, they wrote that, the Bayou thing, the story. I woke up on a plane. All of the passengers are dead. Have I done? No, I don't think I've done this. The Night I Became a Living Vampire. That also had a weird gay subplot in there. It was just like I said. There's no problem with that. Just make it make sense. That's the issue. That is a twist. That is a twist, Dex. And I'm butchering it a little bit, but that's basically what it was. I was like, what the hell? The Keeper. How you doing, my friend? How you doing? Third pick on top for a DNA thumbnail. I do like this one. Some cool, exciting news too. Or she meant this one. I don't know. Yeah, third. Some cool news coming up is if y'all heard the story, I did it on my channel. I know Nature's Temper did it. I actually found that story listening to Nature's Temper years ago, and I was like, you know what, I want to narrate this. I found a cave entrance that led to another world or whatever, where the Neanderthals, Homo sapiens weren't dominant in this parallel universe. Neanderthals were. That was an awesome story. I love that story. When I listened to it on Nature's, then I read it. I got in contact with the author. I read it on my channel. And then the author, I bought the book years ago. And the author has like a kind of like a sequel, but it's not a sequel really. It's just an expansion upon. A lot of times when I picked the first one, I'm going to know, thank you. A lot of times authors will write like a short story. And then just like with Feed the Pig, a short story, and then it blows up. So then they expand on that universe, not directly including the first original story. It's just an expansion because people like the universe. And I think that's what Tobias Moll from Odd Directions did. So there was the Neanderthal story, blew up, and then he wrote a whole book. A whole book, like, a 4-hour novella on it. And Tobias said I could narrate that. That's awesome. I'm going to be needing a couple, at least one other person, another male in that. I think there's a female in that story too. I read it years ago, and now I don't remember much of it. But I do need to find another male narrator to get on that story with me. Neanderthals are more into drugs than we were in that story. How they were basically using like clockwork vehicles. What are y'all talking about? I don't know what that is. The Neanderthal story was the one that I'm talking about. Is a guy, and I think another guy, and then a girl goes in there. Goes into the Neanderthal world. Then the Neanderthals like take him into this like, big Russia. Like everything looks like Russia, like the USSR over there, because Neanderthals in the story don't have much imagination and creativity. And then they kind of started running experiments on him, and then they made the protagonist, the Homo sapien, they made him have sex with the Neanderthal woman, and then the story is getting the Neanderthal woman out of the complex and then him back to the cave to where he can go back to the Earth. That's the one. That's the story I'm talking about. That was a cool story. The novella is like 3 or 4 hours long. I need to highlight the roles, go through it, then find who I'd like to play beside me in that. All right. Let's see. I have a couple creepypastas kind of lined up. What story is that, Kevin? It's I don't know the exact title, but excuse me. Try like I found a world where humans didn't where Neanderthals rule, or I found a cave to another world. Neanderthals are the dominant species. Let's see. I don't know what Nature's Temper titled it. Oh yeah, it's called "We Found a Portal to a World Where Homo Sapiens Never Evolved." That's what it is. Because in that story, Homo sapiens just kind of died out, I think, and Neanderthals kind of took over. The Neanderthal vehicles, they weren't like modern day cars. They were large monstrosities that were outdated technology compared to ours. If I recall correctly, they didn't use fossil fuels. I don't know. That might be right. It's been a while since I've listened to it now. It has been a while since I've listened to it. That could be right. I just remember taken away from it. Everything was like very 1970s Soviet Russia. Everything's gray, bleak. Neanderthals are kind of slaving everybody around and stuff. And that's a story that didn't really. I mean, I covered that one maybe 2 years ago, and it didn't really get much traction on my channel at all, unfortunately. But that was also 2 years ago. The channel was much smaller, so 2,000 views was a lot back then. I couldn't make a good thumbnail for. I remember 2 years ago trying to make. This is how hard thumbnails are, guys. I remember 2 years ago making that thumbnail, trying to generate an image that I liked, and I was like, man, I don't fucking like any of these. I got a good mic, man. You know, I've been waiting to throw my hat in the ring for narrations. That's awesome, Motivator. Do it. That's awesome. All you gotta do is start. That's the hardest part. Okay, steampunk, that makes more sense. Okay, yeah. I get that now, Motivator. Yeah. Alright. One story I have is The Red Thread of Evidence. I haven't read it. I don't really pre-read much, to be, y'all know that. But it's written by Mac, who's a good writer. If y'all haven't listened to it yet, it's the novella that I narrated by him. I had to be a little clickbaity with the title because there was just no good title for it. Because I think it's just called Maranatha, the town of Maranatha. It's the rapture is coming, the town of Maranatha, something like that. It's like a 2-hour story. I really, really enjoyed that. That was a good one. It's not actually, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a good one. It's a good one. If you haven't listened to that, I would give that a listen. A town gets overtaken by a preacher, basically, and he leads these people to do basically whatever he wants. So I have that by Mac pulled up. Has he? He hasn't been putting out much lately. Ooh, 7 Characters in Search of a Heaven. I had that bookmarked. I forgot all about this story. This is something that I need. Like, I've had it bookmarked for so long because it has 7 people in it, and I can do 7 voices, but I was like, man, I need to get with some. I mean, I've had this bookmarked for like 2 years, I think. Now I have a bigger roster of who I work with, so I'll definitely be asking Dex for this, Whispering Scream, maybe Vox, We Try Horror. I'll try to get a bunch of people. I just gotta have the time to do this. Let's see. Did I read this? Yeah, cool story, but kind of far fetched. But it was good. Huh, that might be interesting. Some cool stuff I've been reading lately too. I've been fascinated with different viewpoints of authorship and reading, and one of them was I was like, man, I would love to read a book written from the perspective of an animal, mainly like a predator, because a prey animal just eats grass all day, But then I heard about this story for years when I looked this up before, and it was called Raptor Red, and it's a story from the perspective of a female Utah raptor, which is like a velociraptor but like 5 times as big. Even I think it's like 10 times as big because a velociraptor is actually like 70 or 80 pounds, and the Utah raptor is like 500 pounds, I think. Um, but I started reading that the other day. It's not a long book. It's maybe like 5 hours long. I'm halfway through it already. It's been amazing. It's been so cool to read a book from the perspective of an animal because they just have a completely different. Obviously, we don't know how animals think, but it's a completely different thing. You know, half of the sensory perception is through smell and pheromones because animal noses are, you know, orders of magnitude better than ours. So it's super cool seeing the world through that kind of lens. All right, let's go ahead and get a story done. Now I just got to figure out which one. I guess we can start with Mark. Off the coast of the Isle of Lewis and the Outer Hebrides. Let me just redo that. Off the coast of the Isle of Lewis and the Outer Hebrides lays a small uninhabited island, officially abandoned since the Highland clearances of the 18. My mouth is getting all. Oh, I gotta fix the island. Lewis and the Outer Hebrides lays a small uninhabited island, officially abandoned since the Highland clearances of the 1800s. The cursed island has been the subject of legends and ghostly tales for centuries, which is part of the reason why locals give it a wide berth. But more significant is the Ministry of Defense exclusion order, which has been enforced for the past 80 years. Officially, this prohibition is due to the controversial testing of biological and chemical weapons in the area during the early 1950s, the residual effects of which are said to still pollute the abandoned isle's soil, posing a risk to anyone who would dare set foot upon its shores. Let me get the headphones off now that I'm reading. Oh, my scorpion had babies. Ugh, gross, disgusting. Congratulations. Effects of which are said to still pollute the abandoned isle's soil, posing a risk to anyone who would dare set foot upon its shores. This would be reason enough to avoid the area, but even darker rumors have persisted over the years. A metaphorical black cloud which has hanged over the island for decades, and a hellish banshee-like wail which can be heard at night, carried by cold winds. Excuse me, my voice just sounds off. These dark tales might well have remained as rumors had it not been for the uncovering of new evidence in recent years. The document that follows is published here in its entirety for the first time, having been leaked by a disgruntled MOD. I was going to say mod. And is published here in its entirety for the first time, having been leaked by a disgruntled MOD official who discovered it buried in Whitehall's deepest archive. The author is Philip Redford, a former soldier and Home Office official who went missing without a trace. Fuck, my mouth is like not opening all the way. A former soldier and Home Office official who went missing without a trace during the autumn of 1946. If his account is true, it could well redefine our understanding of the 20th century history and indeed prove the existence of a link between the mortal and immortal realms. We will let the readers come to their own conclusions. November 10th, 1946. I arrived on the island shortly before dusk, the motorboat crew taking advantage of the window between storms to bring me ashore. With me came fresh supplies for the men already deployed, and I would hope some renewed hope for their... Just a little repetitive. With me came fresh supplies for the men already deployed, and I would hope some renewed hope for their beleaguered spirits. It's difficult for me to describe my emotions as our boat approached the concrete jetty on the desolate shoreline. Yes, I found my way across Western Europe during the final days of the war, and I thought nothing could scare me after witnessing the horrors of Hitler's collapsing regime. But I experienced a cold foreboding as I set my eyes upon the lonely island for the first time. The raw terror wasn't the same as I'd felt when facing the... Oh gosh, there's so many Nazi, Hitler... YouTube hates that shit. I gotta think if I can find a way to just not say Nazi every 5 minutes. And he's talking about guns. Oof, boy. This might be a YouTube member video. YouTube just loves censoring everything, guys. It's ridiculous. It's not even it's ridiculous. My eyes upon the lonely island. My eyes upon the lonely island for the first time. The raw terror wasn't the same as I'd felt when facing the opposing German soldiers and their MG-42s and 88 guns. It was more subtle than that, almost primal. But my feelings were surely nonsensical. I've heard the ghost stories, of course, but that's surely all they are. Stories. The prisoner held on the island has become infamous in tight government circles, but is practically unknown to the outside world. But, as evil as the war criminal is, I'm certain he is nothing more than a wicked man. This is the purpose of my visit: to interview the secret prisoner and ascertain whether he is fit to stand trial. Ugh, gross. I had some, excuse me, got some, just took some Diet Coke. Is Third Reich also heavily penalized by YouTube? Probably, yeah. That's probably even worse. Jeez. I mean, you hear the word Reich, and it's all synonymous with the Austrian painter. Whether he is fit to stand and ascertain whether he is fit to stand trial. The apprehension I felt as I set foot upon the jetty was soon abated as I was greeted by an old comrade and friend. Captain Jack Sinclair, not St. Clair. Soon abated as I was greeted by an old comrade and friend. Captain Jack Sinclair is my contact on the island, tasked with supporting me during my stay and facilitating my interview with the prisoner. Jack and I fought side by side during the crossing of the Rhine in '45. He saved my life when we were pinned down by a German machine Side by side during the crossing of the Rhine in '45. He saved my life when we were pinned down by a German machine gun. This I'll never forget. We warmly embraced upon the wind and rain-swept pier before he rushed me inside of the underground bunker at the island center. This isle has been uninhabited since the early 1800s, but the bunker was constructed by sappers in 1940. It was intended to be the base for, sorry, my eye caught the word Nazi again in the next sentence. I'll just say opposing faction. Bunker was constructed by sappers in 1940. It was intended for the base to be used by a home guard auxiliary unit in case the mainland was invaded by the opposing faction, the Axis powers. Thankfully, this purpose was never realized, but the nature of the secure and isolated location makes it perfect for the detention of our secret prisoner. Jack is deployed on the island with a 4-man security team. The troops wear khaki uniforms without any insignia or regimental caps. They rarely speak, but have the look of hardened veterans, dogs of war prepared for any eventuality. The small force is commanded by Sergeant McIntosh, a tough-as-nails Gleiswagen with... Gleiswagen? I don't know. I'm not even going to say the word, is commanded by Sergeant McIntosh. He's got dead eyes and a deep scar across his left cheek. His men are Privates Bell, Clifton, and Jones. They provide around-the-clock security with 2 on and 2 off. The accommodation inside the bunker is cramped and basic. I haven't stayed in such discomfort since the war. Luckily, Jack was able to provide some home comfort in the form of a bottle of single malt. We drank throughout the evening inside the bunker's small canteen, sitting under the dim electric light of the generator. Damn, my mouth just doesn't want to work tonight. I've done a lot of recording today. Let's see. A bottle of single malt. Some home comfort in the form of a bottle of single malt. We drank throughout the evening inside the bunker's small canteen, sitting under the dim electric light of the generators while sheltered from the harsh elements outside. Our reunion was well overdue, and I enjoyed reminiscing over old times. But the conversation took a darker tone once I was asked about the prisoner. Reminiscing over old times. These guys are going to go crazy. It sounds like it. Let's see. But the conversation took a darker tone once I asked about the prisoner. It's not so much what Jack said, but more what he didn't say. My friend refused to be drawn into a discussion regarding the detainee's origins, his true identity, or the horrific crimes he's accused of. Jack simply shook his head, draining his glass and telling me our interview would begin tomorrow morning. I'll admit to being confused and disconcerted by Jack's evasion. I write this entry while lying my confused and disconcerted by Jack's evasion. I write this entry while lying. Mark is awesome, but he's Irish, so there's a few words like whilst. We don't say that in America. I've never heard that in my life. I know what it means, of course. But when I read this and I have to, on the fly, go whilst is while, sometimes it just fucks my brain up, and then I fuck the next words up. Confused and disconcerted by Jack's evasion. I write this entry while lying on my hard bunk, and I can't help but feel apprehensive at what is to come. Nevertheless, I have a job to do, and I will conduct the prisoner's interview with professionalism expected from His Majesty's Civil Service. November 11th, 1946. A minute's silence was held on the 11th hour in honor of our dead brothers. Those brave men who made the ultimate sacrifice should have been at the forefront of my thoughts. But instead, during that solemn silence, my only thoughts were of the monster locked up only a few yards away. My morning didn't start well. I had a little rest the night before. My bunk was rock hard and the room icy cold. But this wasn't the reason for my lack of sleep. Because my subconscious was assaulted by a series of vivid nightmares, taking me back to the horrors of the war. The bullets, the shells, and the bodies piled up like firewood in those hellish camps. Sadly, these dark dreams are all too familiar, although it's been months since they've been so severe. But worse were the terrifying visions I had of the monster at the end of the corridor. In my nightmare, he took on an inhuman and diabolical form, one of pure malice and unprecedented evil. Had to clear my throat there. Let's see, let me just put that on the other, there we go. What is that noise? It sounds like I hear a dog barking, but I'm home alone. One of pure malice and unprecedented evil. When morning finally came, I struggled through breakfast and coffee, barely able to focus as Jack delivered his briefing. I didn't want to walk down that corridor and face the monster. Every instinct in my body told me not to do so, but I forced myself to walk forward, as I didn't wish to show weakness in front of the men. The interrogation room was divided into two, with Jack and I on one side with the door to the external corridor behind us. We were separated by the prisoner on one side with the door to the external corridor behind us. We were separated from the prisoner by a wall of reinforced glass, with microphones connected to speakers for two-way communication. Jack explained that this was a necessary precaution because the prisoner had killed 3 squatties during his arrest in Hamburg. I didn't know quite what to expect when I first laid eyes on the prisoner through that thick layer of glass. I suppose I'd built up an image in my head, reinforced by the nightmares and the fearful words of Jack's briefing. But when he entered the interrogation room and sat before us, I was surprised by how unremarkable the man looked. In fact, he was bordering on the pathetic, taking the appearance of a broken, aging man with wrinkled skin, gray hair, and sunken eyes. He wore an itchy gray prisoner's uniform, which only added to his reduced. He wore an itchy gray prisoner's uniform, which only added to his reduced status, and he sat down upon the hard metal chair, appearing submissive and defeated as he waited for the questioning to begin. I started to reassure myself, believing I'd fallen for the ghost stories which had been doing the rounds at Whitehall for the last few weeks. Surely it was all superstitious nonsense, I told myself. The prisoner before me was no more than a broken remnant of a fallen evil empire. Surely he no longer posed any threat, and the only task remaining was to deliver justice for his many horrendous crimes. An ominous moment of silence followed before Jack coolly made the necessary introductions while speaking through the microphone. Herr Fischer, I would like to let me think of a voice. Okay, who is this talking? I don't want a deep one because I'm going to make the interviewee deep. Who the fuck is Jack? So Jack is just, sometimes I have, y'all know this, I have, short-term memory loss when I read out loud. Okay, so Jack is one of the guards there or something. I'll just do a slight, see, I'm going to do a higher pitch, but but he's like a badass guard, so it's doesn't make introductions while speaking through the microphone. Herr Fischer, I would like to introduce Philip Redford, a representative of His Majesty's government. He has come here to ask you a series of questions. I recommend that you cooperate, because Mr. Redford's report will be assessed by the Home Secretary who will determine your ultimate fate. There was another pause before Fisher spoke for the first time through his own microphone. Okay, so Fisher is the interviewee. Very well. One sec, my tab. I don't know why the tab on every time I do live, and then I watch the live in my other monitor, it always crashes every night. Very well. Oh wait, he's spoken accented English and had nothing further to say. I'm just gonna leave that out because I'm not doing an English accent. Very well. He cut it there and had nothing further to say, at least for the time being. I carefully watched his facial expressions and body language, expecting to see some signs of stress or anxiety. After all, Herr Fischer may well end up with a noose around his neck, and he will surely hang if he ever faces trial. Given the enormity of his crimes against humanity, I did hope to see some remorse in the aging man's eyes. Or, failing that, a realization that he would now face consequences for his heinous actions. But sadly, I was disappointed, because when I looked to the German's wrinkled face, all I saw were cold and emotionless eyes. I took a deep breath, composing myself as I retrieved the notes from my briefcase and began my questioning. So, Herr Fischer, we have had some difficulty in tracing your family history. Ew, a little burp at the end there. So, Herr Fischer, we have had some difficulty in tracing your family history. Yes, Fischer stated without elaborating. I realized I would need to work hard to get any information from the prisoner. Fischer was not your original name, was it? And Hans is not your true Christian name? I have had many names over the years, but none of them Christian. Now I'll confess, let me listen to see what that even sounds like. Let me listen back to it. I have had many names over the years, but none of them Christian. That'll do. That'll do. But none of them Christian. I'll confess to raising my eyebrow in response, and I thought it was going to say response, and then I was like, oh, it says surprise, so then I went reprise. But none of them Christian. I'll confess to raising my eyebrow in I did it again. I'll confess to raising my eyebrow in surprise before casting Jack a look. My companion simply shook his head. I decided upon a change of tack, realizing this line of questioning was getting me nowhere. Herr Fischer, the earliest records we have on you date from 1929, when you became a member of the National Socialist Party in Munich. In a short period, you rose up the ranks of the Nazi Party and became a close advisor and confidant to Adolf Hitler. You remained in the shadows for the next 16 years. Nevertheless, you were instrumental in Hitler's rise to power and his subsequent policies, including the worst excesses of the Nazi regime during the war. There's just Nazi this, Nazi that, Hitler this, Hitler that everywhere, so I'm not even going to bleep it out anymore. I'm just going to say it. Worst excesses of the Nazi regime during the war. My statement drew little reaction from Fischer, other than a firm nod and a flippant response. So, what is your question, Mr. Redford? You don't deny the accusations against you, then? I asked impatiently. I do not, Fischer confirmed without emotion. His non-denial of the charges only added to my confusion. Let's see, I'm afraid, okay, yeah. I'm afraid you don't understand, Herr Fischer. Your co-conspirators are mostly dead and buried. They either died in the late stages of the war. And I was like, what? Buried. They either died in the late stages of the war, or were executed by the hangman's noose. You alone have been brought here in secret, held without a trial due to the unique circumstances of your capture, and the frankly outlandish claims you made immediately after your arrest. Your so-called Führer is long dead, and just following orders is not considered a legitimate defense. Fischer interrupted my speech by laughing through the microphone, emitting a chilling, loud cackle before eventually answering in a mocking tone. Oh, I have always followed orders from my master. But not that fool, Hitler. I answer to an older and much more powerful entity. One day my master will rise and burn this wretched world of yours in unholy fire. Until that day comes, I will serve his cause in your realm, using whatever means and methods to inflict pain, mayhem, and suffering. Give me 1 second. I need to look something up in the other tab. Man, what is it? A demon took me to another world. No sleep. That's not exactly what it is, but... I'm trying to think. There was a story I saw it's on my saved somewhere, but it's probably like, 19 pages back in history. I'm just trying to find something. I don't have enough, I don't have enough of what it was to know. Fuck. Who's Postmortem 33? Oh, seems to be a writer here. Have I talked to him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see. All right, back to the story. And suffering. I was left flabbergasted in that moment, looking to Jack for reassurance but finding none. I had little choice but to continue the interview. Well, Herr Fisher, this brings us to the crux of the matter. These claims you made after your arrest? I glanced down at my notes, confirming that I had it right. You say you are not a German citizen, that in fact you're not a man at all. You claim to be a supernatural entity not of this world. I laughed nervously, but was only met with a cold stare from Jack and a supernatural entity not of this world. I laughed nervously, but was only met by a cold stare from Jack and a stern confirmation from Fisher. Yes, that is correct. I shook my head in contempt. This is absurd, I exclaimed. Fisher's response was one of barely concealed anger, as his previously cold eyes lit up with a fiery and frightening intensity. Absurd, you say? Absurd, you damn fool! If you had witnessed what I have, the crucifixion of Christ, the rampage of the Golden Horde, the innocents gassed by the thousands, their bodies burnt in ovens. Oh, I've seen it all, Mr. Redford. Believe me. I wish I could do that voice, loud, but I can only... That voice only comes out of me, quietly. Their bodies burnt in ovens. Oh, I've seen it all, Mr. Redford. Believe me. All right, got that. Dex. Guys, if y'all aren't sub to Dex, go to his channel, check it out. If you like it, sub. I don't ever say just sub, because having people that sub to you that don't watch your stuff is actually bad. But if you like it, and I'm sure you will like Dexter's stuff, awesome narrator, great with sound design, please check his stuff out. He's been on the channel a lot, and he just did, I think, my longest collab, everybody. He had a 46-minute roll that he pumped out for me in a few days, which I think the longest other than that was Creepy Spaghetti, who did a 35 minutes for me, maybe, with the I Traveled the 9 Circles of Hell, and he played the Dante's Inferno, the Dante figure, the guide. That was my other biggest role, and then after that it's We Try Horror, who played Will in the tribal jail, but Dexter knocked everybody out in about 15 minutes. Oh, and actually, Whispering Scream had one of the longest too. 38 minutes maybe, when she played in the orphanage letter, the string of letters from the orphanage. She had a super long role in that. Hey there, can I ask you how to start a channel like this? What is the edit process like for these kinds of videos? I can't really answer that because that would be a 30-minute answer, to be honest with you, man. My 30-second answer is start a YouTube channel. If you want to do narrations, you need a Reddit account, you need a Creepypasta account, you need a YouTube channel, and start with Audacity, which is a free editing software. This is called a DAW, a digital audio workstation. Audacity is free, super easy to use. It's a good way to start, and just get a microphone. Believe me. I was taken aback by Fisher's outburst. I'll admit to being intimidated despite the glass barrier between me and the prisoner. but I was determined not to show the monster any fear. You're quite the storyteller, Herr Fisher. But what evidence do you have to back up your outlandish claims? How can you prove that you're anything more than a desperate man seeking to escape justice for his heinous crimes? Fisher laughed again, a deeper and frankly inhuman bellowing which shot through the speakers. Proof is what you seek. How is it? I got my throat there. The inhuman bellowing which shot through the speakers. Proof is what you seek. How is this, Vestatus? Fisher raised his bony hands up from the metal table before him, and when he did so, the lights in the room flickered for a few seconds, and then went out entirely, leaving us in total darkness. I gasped in shock and called out to Jack. Thankfully, the power outage only lasted for a few seconds before the lights inside the bunker suddenly shot back on. But the worst shock was still to come. As I looked, I had wrong inflection there. I'm so in love with this channel, Kevin, Frank, and Teddy, and my chosen family. Thank you, Amanda. And we are in love with you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this community and being so active in it. You know, it baffles me when I get comments on the channel where someone will be like, I've been a subscriber. Okay, they'll say something like, people just love to, be, I don't know, like, I'll post a story that's been covered a few times, right? And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I heard this one already. I've been a subscriber for 3 years. I wouldn't have clicked on this if I knew it was one I've heard. And I'm like, you've been a subscriber for 3 years, and I can see comment history. I click on you, and I'm like, you've been stuck for 3 years, and your first fucking comment is some negative Nancy shit? Get the fuck out of here. I just ban people on the channel when I see shit like that. I'm like, shadow ban, bye. I don't have time for that. It's like, whatever. It's like, and it's your first comment in 3 years, and you decide to make the comment. And that's rare. That happens like, once every 2 months, but still. I had one like that from, what story did I do? My friends and I created a vampire, that one. That's a Saturday story. And, Lighthouse has done it. So if Lighthouse has done it, almost everybody's heard it, really. Especially, this one's like a 3-year-old story, so it's been covered a lot. And I was like, I went back and forth on the comments a couple times with them. Because sometimes I'll comment back, and then I'll ban their ass right after so they can see the comment, but then they can't, well, actually, they can comment, but no one sees it. But sometimes I'll comment back, give them like 2 minutes to see it, then I'll remove the comment, and then ban them, and then they can't even click on the original thread, which I find funny. Oh. As I looked, let's see, where were we? But the worst shock was still to come. Where the hell is that? There we go. Seconds before the lights inside the bunker suddenly shot back on. But the worst shock was still to come, as I looked through the glass and saw what Fisher had become. His previously human eyes now replaced by jet black orbs, and his lips curled into a sadistic grin that was anything but friendly. My jaw dropped as I jumped up from my chair in shock. But thankfully, Jack took charge, exclaiming, "This interview is over!" I gotta redo it. I just said that. The sentence didn't flow very well. Curled into a sadistic grin that was anything but friendly. My jaw dropped as I jumped up from my chair in shock, but thankfully Jack took charge, exclaiming, "This interview is over!" He promptly grabbed hold of me as we made for the steel door, Jack slamming it shut behind us. A frantic conversation followed on the far side of the door. I challenged my old friend on what we'd just encountered. Naturally, I was in a state of denial and seeking to rationalize the unsettling incident. Parlor tricks. The lights in the eyes. Nothing but damn parlor tricks, I exclaimed. Don't you believe it? Jack answered coldly. The lights are not even the half of it. There's been all kinds of unexplainable events on the island in recent weeks. Dead animals washed up on the beach, hoof prints in the mud, disembodied voices down here in the bunker, and that's not to mention the nightmares. I experienced a jolt of fear at that last statement, and Jack picked it up. You've had the dreams then? Trust me, Philip, they only get worse the longer you stay here. There's a reason why McIntosh and his men never talk. I could barely believe what I was hearing. You actually believe what he says? I asked nervously. I don't know what to believe, Jack replied with a shake of his head. But listen to me, Philip. We can't stay on the island for much longer. He pointed fearfully back towards the interrogation room door. Whatever that monster is, he's getting stronger by the day. You need to get your damn report done so we can all get the hell out. More drink will be had this evening, I'm sure of it. I hope I'm granted some rest during the twilight hours, because the interview begins afresh tomorrow morning. November 12th, 1946. And just a little backstory on this story is, Mark was, he emailed me back and was like, hey, I love the collab, man. I'd love to work again on something after the Hell is a Cart story. And I was like, dude, I do have an idea that's been sitting with me for a bit. I was like, can we work on a story where a man, it can be a journalist, it can be a priest, it can be anybody, right? Interviews someone who's possessed, a demon. And I was like, it can, tie into your hell, your hell stories from the Somnium channel, Eyewitness Hell's Invasion kind of thing. It can tie into that. It can be completely separate. It can be anything we want. Is that a concept you'd be interested in expanding on, and exploring? And he was like, yeah, of course. And then he emailed me back like a few minutes after that, the reply. And he's like, I actually have an unposted story. So this isn't anywhere online. He's like, I have an unposted story that I submitted to Chilling Tales that didn't get accepted about a man interviewing a demon. He's like, it's only 4,000 words, so it's on the short end, but it's something that you can have if you want. And I was like, oh hell yeah! So now I'm reading it, so I'll be able to email him after this later tonight, because I do want like a 9 or 12,000 word story with a man interviewing a demon. And then I got to think of, what's the plot going to be? Because how long can you just go back and forth like that? Maybe there has to be some underlying plot there, but the details I want to hit in that is like, it would be something akin to kind of the demon giving up secrets of possession, how people are possessed, the inner workings of, it'll talk about the inner workings of hell a bit, the ranking system, who's in charge, what hell is actually like. It's not just a place to torture people, it's a place to torture demons too. If you read the Bible, the Bible says that hell wasn't even a place for people. It was because there's so much of theology comes from like one word passages and one sentences. But the passage goes something like, and I will send you to the place prepared, I will send you to hell, to the place prepared for the devil and his angels. So then you have a whole theology that's like, oh, the place wasn't even meant for people. It was meant for the fallen angels. If it's tormenting for them, imagine what it's like for people. So I don't know how, who knows how. It's a little ambiguous there a little bit, but, but basically, from a Christian theologic standpoint, hell is for demons too. Hell is for the fallen angels. Hell is horrible already. That's where demons are. That's where they go. And, they get roam. They can roam the world too. But it is not just for people. So it'll be tormented for them also. So maybe there's like a way in the story to kind of maybe there's a grand plan. Maybe the demon's only even letting him be interviewed because it's like a way to expand his message in a sense, to bring about some kind of hell invasion. I don't know. I gotta think of some ideas and get back to Mark on that. 1946. This morning has passed by in a nightmarish blur, and I am barely able to distinguish between the dream world and what passes for reality in this hellish bunker. It's hard to describe what assaulted me. My stomach made a weird noise. I don't know if it picked it up. And what passes for reality in this hellish bunker. It's hard to describe what assaulted me during the twilight hours. It seems the beast which dwells inside this subterranean layer. What assaulted me during the twilight hours. It seems the beast which dwells inside this subterranean layer can infiltrate a man's subconscious at will, bringing his worst fears to life and playing on his darkest impulses. Oh, I've missed a ton of chat. I didn't think my thing was scrolling, but that's because I messed it up. How dare you make them waste calories clicking a recycled title? That's a little Regina George. Kevin, you're a mean girl. I will. I'll fucking comment. You're gonna comment on my channel with some bullshit. I'll comment back and then silence your ass. Shun the non-believers. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, your laugh was a little creepy when you were talking about blocking. What's up, El DeGusto? Off work. Good to see you. All right. Let me switch my position a little bit. I like snapped a bolt off of my chair armrest the other day. So now it like just like freely goes back and forth. But I kind of like it though, so now I want to snap the other one off on the other side. Darkest impulse to life and playing on his darkest impulses. I've only been here 2 days, but I can tell our situation is rapidly deteriorating. Jack tells me that Fisher's power have increased exponentially since my arrival, and he doubts we can hold him here for much longer. Jack begged me to call Whitehall and pull the plug on this entire operation. I was severely tempted to do so, but first I needed to know the truth. I went back into the interrogation room at dawn despite Jack's strong objections. McIntosh stood at the door holding a silent vigil with his Sten gun in hand, his eyes dead and almost devoid of human emotion. Fisher's eyes had returned to normal, and there were no tricks with the lights during that session. Still, I couldn't help but detect a smugness in Fisher's thin face as he greeted me from behind the glass. I no longer doubted his claims. Not really. The awful visions which invaded my exhausted mind have surely confirmed his terrible power. But still, I didn't fully understand. Or perhaps I just needed confirmation of my worst fears. "You're not a man?" I asked softly, barely able to hold his monstrous gaze. "I am not." "What is your true name?" was my next question, spoken down the microphone through trembling lips. The monster's sick grin widened and his voice deepened as he replied. "I have gone by many names over the centuries, but you may call me Abaddon." Ah, fuck that up. "But you may call me Abaddon." A chill went up my spine and a cold sweat ran down my brow. You speak of a master that you serve. Who is this individual?" Abaddon scoffed, anger entering his voice as he spat out his reply. You know very well who I serve. You've always known. You men of the modern age attempt to deny his existence. But my master lives on, and his influence is as strong as ever. I took a deep breath before asking my next question. You speak of influence. We know you worked alongside Hitler and his Nazis during the war. You claim there's been other tyrants throughout history. If what you say is true, this means you're responsible for corrupting the hearts of men. You and your master forced them to commit crimes of unspeakable evil. Excuse me. Forced them to commit crimes of unspeakable evil. No. Certainly, I have used my master's influence to push human history in a certain direction. But in truth, my throat made a nasty push human history in a certain direction. But in truth, there is little effort required. The true darkness dwells within the hearts of men. War, conquest, annihilation. These are the acts of mere mortals. The cruelty and savagery are all yours. Let's Read was recording a story about Abaddon last night too. Interesting. Are all a very, very well-known, highly written about Prince of Hell is, the popular term, but just demon, fallen angel. Are all yours. My heart sank in that moment as the terrible truth hit home. I felt physically unwell and couldn't bear to stay in the room a moment longer. I have to put in a call to Lewis requesting a boat to evacuate us from the island. They'll send relief as soon as the weather permits. Right now, I can hear the heavy rain and wind pouring against the concrete walls. But the storm is nothing compared to the horror barely contained within this godforsaken bunker. We must get off this island before it's too late. November 12th, 1946. Afternoon. This may well be my last entry as I write with a shaking hand, fighting back the pain. The end came so quickly, and not in the way we expected. A burst of automatic gunfire abruptly woke me from my midday slumber. My instincts kicked in as I jumped up from my bunk and reached for a weapon I didn't have. There were further gunshots and screams from the corridors before Jack rushed in, his service revolver drawn and a wild look in his eyes. "Philip, on your feet, lad!" he shouted. "Well, what the hell is going on?" I asked frantically. "It's McIntosh! He's lost the bloody plot!" We barged out into the corridor, We barged out into the corridor, only to find our path blocked by the crazed sergeant, blood on his shirt and his barrel smoking as he reloaded his Sten gun. "Quick, get to the interrogation room and lock yourself in," Jack ordered. I obeyed my friend's instructions, looking back in time to see Jack cut down by a burst of gunfire. As for me, I made it to the interrogation. When I saw AMA, I thought against medical advice. You must work in the healthcare industry. Ask me anything. Looking back in time to see that's the YouTuber industry. Looking back in time to see Jack cut down by a burst of gunfire. As for me, I made it to the interrogation room but failed to get the door shut before a bullet struck me in the leg. I fell screaming in agony as I collapsed to the concrete floor. I expected McIntosh to finish the job, but instead the sergeant ignored me, making his way to the second doorway which led to Abaddon's cell. I tried to call out, but the breath had left my lungs, and there was nothing I could do as the possessed McIntosh inserted the keys and opened the heavy steel door. Once the cell door was open, McIntosh dropped to his knees and bowed his head as if in prayer. And then Abaddon walked out and stood over him. I lay powerless on the blood-soaked floor looking up at the monster, whose eyes were once again jet black. His hand was now more akin to a claw, which he placed upon McIntosh's exposed head, forming a tight grip on the sergeant's skull before twisting and breaking the sergeant's neck like a twig. McIntosh's lifeless body collapsed in a heap, and Abaddon turned his attention towards me, fixing fixating, fucking up the flow here, a heap, and Abaddon turned his attention towards me, fixating his black, shark-like eyes upon me while he grinned to reveal rows of long, sharp fangs. I froze in fear, feeling sure the demon would dispatch me next. I silently recited the Lord's Prayer and prepared for the end, but for whatever nefarious reason, the demon spared me, although he emitted a hellish, banshee-like wail which filled the bunker and brought terror to my heart. Abaddon was more beast than man now, and he was a prisoner no longer. Stepping over my limp body, the demon advanced down the corridor and ascended to the surface. Come on. Come on. And he was a prisoner no longer. Stepping over my limp body, the demon advanced down the corridor and ascended to the surface. I fucked it up again. And he was a prisoner no longer. Stepping over my limp body, the demon advanced down the corridor and ascended to the surface, crying out in frightful glee at his sudden freedom. It's been quite some time. It's been quiet. My bad. It's been quiet for some time now. I've managed to stem the loss of blood from my wound and believe I can escape this bunker-turned-tomb. I have no choice, because I'm the only one left. If I can make it to the jetty, I can still reach the boat and make it off this godforsaken rock. As for Abaddon Fisher, or whoever that monster really is, he can stay here and rot for all I care. Philip Redford's journal was recovered from his body by the relief team. He was found dead on the jetty, just yards from the water. The landing party noted how his face was drained of blood and his jaw was pried open in a silent scream. The boat's captain saw a dark figure observing them from a hillside overlooking the harbor. The unidentified individual disappeared from sight when challenged, but all the crew heard were animal-like roars from the island's interior. Lots were drawn, and one man was sent to check inside the bunker for survivors. He never returned to the boat. Facing a potential mutiny, the captain was forced to abandon the relief mission and return to the mainland. The British military have not made any attempt to return to the island since the 40s. There have been sporadic incidents over the years. The locals continue to avoid the region but speak of hellish wails emanating from the island's shores, and hundreds of dead fish and birds inexplicably washing up on shore. In 1972, a fishing trawler was blown off course by stormy weather and struck rocks close to the island. The crew are said to have made it to the beach, but there was no rescue attempt, and none were ever seen again. Occasionally, a disturbed individual or cultist will ignore all warnings and set sail for the location. Most are caught by patrol boats before they reach the island, but some make it to shore and presumably find whatever dark force they were seeking. The MOD whistleblower who released it for the Redford's Journal likely had good intentions. But in this instance, we believe the government are justified in isolating the island and trapping whatever entity which dwells upon it. You'll notice that we haven't released the name of the island, and we would strongly discourage anyone from attempting to find it. The isle is cursed for good reason, and the evil trapped upon its god-forsaken shores should remain. My phone buzzed. Evil trapped upon its god-forsaken shores should remain there until the end of time. Almost hit the 30-minute mark. Almost. All right, not bad, not bad. An interview with Evil Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Oh man, I ate at 12 o'clock this afternoon. One meal a day. One meal a day for me is all I eat. I would love some pizza right now. I had Bojangles. Yeah, Dex, what are you cooking? Share with the class. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll show you all a little bit of the thumbnail process again. All right, let's see. So you got the story, right? And you think about what is compelling in the story. And then you got to think about what is eye-catching, what's going to get people to stop scrolling is your whole point of a thumbnail. So this would be, let's see, two men sitting across from each other. Dim in the dark. Single dim light overhead. Metal desk, metal chairs. One man is chained. Now, I don't actually like what I'm thinking about right now, but this will... Sometimes you gotta just make something and then see what you get back, and then it gives you ideas on what to do next. So go ahead and put that prompt in 3 times. Now see, what I really want is I want 2 people at a desk, and then but it's hard to put perspective in sometimes. I don't actually want a sideways one. I want, like, you see the back of one guy and then the face of the other guy. But it's I got to think of a way to phrase that. From the back. Okay, here, let's see. 2 men. You know what? Maybe okay. A man sitting. What do you mean, quick art? I don't know what that means. Let's see. A man sitting across a table in an interrogation room. In the dark. Shot from the back of the man. The AI has kind of trouble with that sometimes. Yeah, I eat 1 meal a day. Usually I eat like, usually I just eat at like, I don't know, 9 p.m. and that's it. Quick art, like someone rushing to create one human made. I thought that's what you meant, but almost, I'll tell you this now, Francesca. Almost not a single creepypasta narrator gets custom actual art drawn for thumbnails. It's just way too expensive and takes too long. Shot from the back of the man. Sitting across him is a demon. See, it doesn't like... Midjourney, this is the thing with AI. It's so good and so shitty sometimes. Because, like, you'll type demon. Like, if you type demon, it just gives you, like, the dumbest looking demon sometimes. Or, like, the most, like, generic looking thing. It's like... Sometimes you gotta really prompt it on what you want it to look like. Sitting across from him is a demon. Red skin. Red leathery skin. Curving horns protruding. Excuse me, from the forehead. One meal a day, dude. Are you okay? Food makes me so happy, so I'm assuming the opposite. Yeah. I mean, Hey, don't get me wrong. I fucking love to eat. I love eating, but uh, I'm in my little intermittent fasting phase, right? I go in and out of it. I need to lose a little bit of weight. Well, I need to lose like 15 more pounds, so I can get like super lean, nice and lean again. Intermittent fasting is the best way. Keeps your cravings in control. Keeps your like I don't get hungry at all. Now, don't get me wrong. It's been 8 hours since I ate. I'm not hungry at all. Now, don't get me wrong. I would fucking love to put a DiGiorno in the oven right now, and I would eat that whole fucking thing easily. But one meal a day, one meal a day. Protruding from the forehead, evil and sinister smile. Let's try. Let's see what that looks like. As long as it just gives me the vantage point that I want, like of the camera. Oh, see, give me this fucking corny ass shit. Yeah, like all these suck. These are all awful. I might just have it be like just a man. I have to get rid of the whole demon thing. Sitting across from him is a man with black eyes. Yeah, Amanda, but I put on like maybe 20 pounds since those pictures I showed y'all, because those pictures are a couple years old, and I'm still actually skinny, but my I have like such naturally chubby cheeks, um, and whenever I put on like any weight at all, it goes straight to my fucking face first. So I'm like, I need to get my face a little bit leaner again. Sitting across from him is a man with black eyes. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. These kind of suck too. You know what? I'm going to take out the men across from the table. I'm just going to put a man sitting. How about, okay. How about a demon sitting at a table in the dark with a single dim light overhead? Chubby cheek gang. That's right. My daughter's got my chubby cheeks too. She's like 2 months old and she's got big, chunky, chubby cheeks. Tim Curry, no kidding, right? Like, that's so funny. All right, a demon sitting at a table in the dark. The demon has red, leathery skin. Maybe I should. Let me see. Let me just type in a demon and see what it says. Chained and shackled. I mean, not. Sometimes when you type in creepypasta art style, that's why it gives you that corny. Oh, yeah. All right, I like these a lot more. A lot more. Babyface gang, we are adorable against medical advice. Hey, you know what? I'll take my babyface because it keeps me young. I'm 32 and people ask me all the time like, "What are you, like 20, 21, 22?" I'm like, "No, I'm 32." Let me see if I can bring up the pictures that I showed people. Since there's some new people in the chat. I don't know. I know I put it. I know I made it a folder somewhere. Come on, where is it? Here, let's see. Minimize. There we go. Found you. There we go. There I am. That is my police officer graduation for patrol deputy in the local county where I work. Well, I don't work there anymore, but this is my graduation from there. Super awesome day. Got my dad to pin my badge on me. Damn, man, the bit rate is so low on the stream. I'm looking at it in my other monitor, and I'm like, I look so pixelated. Let's see. Here we go. Ah, yeah, there's baby me. Well, I don't know, 3-year-old me with a mullet next to my dad with his mullet, and there's my chubby cheeks. A police officer suspect has chubby cheeks. That is funny. FIHS. I don't know what that means. Oh, there's baby. Okay, maybe I was like, I don't know, like 9 months old or 6 months old here, something like that. This one cracks me up. I remember that day we had it was the daycare my mom worked at. They brought in horses and they took pictures. Oh, fish misspelled. There's me throwing a fit at a birthday party. 96, so I was 3 years old. Damn, I look kind of tall for a 3-year-old. Same picture, different angle. This was I don't know, 5 or 6 pound bass. My dad and I were fishing that day, and we caught 2 bass. This is when I was super lean, so you'll see I don't have chubby cheeks anymore. I'm not gonna get that lean again. That was kind of crazy. I was like 7% body fat there, but I caught a fish, and then my dad caught a fish 60 seconds later, and one of them was 5 and one of them was 6. I forget which one. Who had who? Oh man, these home videos crack me up. Let's see. There we go. This is the weight I want to get back to. I'm like 10 pounds from that. Hey, what's up, Cisco? We just recorded a story about a guy interviewing a demon. Thank you, Cisco. Yeah, that was a nice bass. This is a chain pickerel. You know, maybe like 2 pounds, something like that. Yeah, little one. There's this bridge that we fish at, and it's good. There's a lot of fish there, but you're just getting, you're getting a bunch of pickerel and bowfin. Few bass at this bridge. There's just me bowling. Let me see, Cisco. I don't know if you... There's my police graduation. And then the other one, I think you missed if you just got here, you missed, this was a 5 pound pickerel. I spent like an hour trying to catch that thing because he just wouldn't bite, and then I managed to get him. All right, let's see. Back to the YouTubes. All right, now see, I'm liking. Now this is a problem. I'm liking these that we just generated, but like something like this, I actually want to use something like this for if Mark and I collab on a story. I interviewed a demon. If we do that and it's like the hour-long version that I want, this sometimes you make thumbnails for stories that you haven't done yet. Like I'm trying to make a thumbnail for this story, right? And then I'm like, oh man, these are really good. I should use it for this story. But I'm like, oh, but I want to use this actually for another story that I do. All right, so I like these two. But like I said, I want to save these now. All right, let's think of something else. This is a story about an interview with a demon. An interview with a demon, so what else can we think of? I mean, I could do something like a man and a demon sit side by side in a broadcast booth. Man has headphones on. Just Another Cisco sent one Nightmares Nightly gift membership. Thank you. And it was gotten by Chattanooga Ed. Awesome. Joe Rogan interviews Baphomet. That actually could do. Baphomet, it's funny you mentioned that, Dex. I actually use that a lot when I'm trying to generate demonic. I feel horrible because I think AI is kind of demonic to begin with as a Christian. And I hate generating some of these images, but I actually do use Baphomet sometimes because it's like such an iconic symbol that I actually do type in like a statue of Baphomet or Baphomet sitting at a thing. I actually do that a lot. It's funny you mentioned that. Does the MC know it's a demon or finds out halfway through the interview? He finds out in the last like 70% of the story. This is like in a kind of an exclusive from Wound Liquor, Mark Lynch. He sent this in to someone to Chilling Tales years ago or a year ago, and they didn't use it, and he never posted it, and then he sent it to me a couple days ago. Man has headphones on. The demon and grins. Man has headphones on. The demon points a long pointed finger at the man and grins slyly. And just an update on the goal meter, guys. We are $10 away from hitting the goal, or one membership or two memberships to get to something like that. And then we will listen to An Invite Came with My DNA Test. An oldie but a goodie from Saturday. Now, see, I like these, but this is just too cartoony, So now I gotta type in creepypasta art style. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, let me do that, Dex. Who the hell did this? This gave me not Joe Rogan. Oh, I did type his name wrong. I put an I in there for some reason. Slightly better. I mean, this kind of looks like Brian Callen. Somewhat. That's like an old skinny Joe Rogan. Good motivator. Let me try that next. Fuck, I can't type today. Jeez. Yeah, these aren't bad. Sometimes you got to give the AI a lot of prompting, and then sometimes if you give it less prompting, it can actually do pretty good. Let's see. Okay, some of these are like almost what I like, but they're just not quite there. Um, okay, maybe I don't have a point because that's kind of taking away the feel. The demon grins slyly. Can't stop thinking of that story with the radio interview and the way they found that entity that took over the guy who was astral projecting. It was so good, Cisco. Thank you. And thank Dexter. I think Dexter actually had more voice lines in that than I did. Because his voice work came out to like 46 minutes, I think. And then Whispering Scream probably had like 4 minutes of screen time, which and it's an hour and 25-minute story, which means that 35 minutes was me. So yeah, he had the bulk of actually the whole story. All right, Francesca, take it easy. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, now let me type in I want it to be a more darker, nihilistic, scary, horror. I also got to see how much processing or whatever tokens do I have left for this. Oh, I have plenty. Okay. I actually don't mind this one, but it just looks a little too silly. And the problem is that this is a serious story, and these just look too goofy. I mean, I could change it to reflect that, but hmm, I like that one. Okay, you can see. This is the thing to get. You got to think about this. Do you put the image on this side, and then hopefully it just generates like more gray over here, but sometimes it doesn't. It's like, but do I want the person to be on that side? It's like, okay, or do you put it over here and then flip the image later? Because I want the demon. If I put it here, I want the demon here and the person there. So that means that I have to put it over here. So the demon goes here and the person goes there when I flip the image. Damn, it's so hard for me. I can't really properly guess like the third one down in the first column because it's technically on like a 20-second delay when I see y'all's chat. So it's like, oh man, I could be in a completely different spot. See, I like this, but this could be for like a comedy pasta. Have it there. I need to write some more comedy. Did I submit that twice? I need to write some more comedy pastas. They just I'm I'm the comedy ones are tough to write because I don't think I'm that funny. So it takes a while for me to like I have to write the story and then add in jokes later that I think might work. So it takes a while for me to do that, and they're just so hard to find. See, this is an annoying thing. I did that, submitted the thing to where half this screen is the AI has to make something up and it fucking put a computer there for no reason. And I'd rather just have gray like that. Sometimes that's what you need to use Chat GPT for. Like take this computer out and blend it into the background. All right, that's not bad either. Let me take that points the finger out. The demon. Wait, if I upscale, upscale. Now it's kind of just a. Excuse me. Now it's kind of a thing of like, okay, go through, find which ones that we like. Then you upscale the resolution on the ones that look to be like good contenders. Also, okay, like these ones. I gotta like those. These are perfect for this story, but I want to now. I want to save these thumbnails if uh, Mark and I work on that hour-long one. And, you know, see, we got this. We got this random tail that has like a fist on it. I'm gonna have to ask ChatGPT to scrub that out. Let's see. Let me save. Actually, I don't think it's gonna flip the way I want. Now that I think about it. Yeah, so it's like now you take it and then let me bring this over. Now this is what the image looks like on Canva, and then you go, okay, I wanted to flip it. It's actually not flipping the way that I thought it was gonna flip. All right. So now I actually gotta say, oh shit, go back, and then go back, do it this way, move it over there. And what was the other one that I liked? Where you at, buddy? Where you at? This one. There we go. edit that, slide it over there. Okay, all right, that's a little better. That's a little better. I wish it just had a microphone like right here on the desk, not like a podcast arm, but that's all right. I made a damn computer again for no reason. Okay. And then that is kind of how the thumbnails go. Then, let's see. Well, I'll do a little bit more. Delete. It's bright, my eyes. Let's see. While we're waiting, what do I want to read next? All right. Okay. Good comments, especially from Teaway. He's a trustworthy commenter. So this sounds kind of like a comedy pasta then. Okay, I like that. Comedy pasta. It's like, well, this actually has this could have other people in it. So I'm like, now this makes me want to collab with someone because I think there's two men in this. Did this finish yet? Okay, almost. So then we get to the. I know there's a lot of dead noise here. That's just because I have to do a lot of thinking. Now we got our thumbnail put in here, right? Let me pick whatever text we want, and then we think of. Sometimes the thumbnails are different from the title because sometimes titles aren't very good. Um, and then you have to finesse it a little bit because YouTube is all about clickability. Now the title "An Interview with Evil" that Mark has is actually a good title, but it's not a good. See, the thing is a good no sleep title or a good creepypasta title is different than a good YouTube title. An Interview with Evil is just too short. So let me show you what it looks like. An interview. You have, I put and. Uh, an Interview with Evil just isn't that clickable, unfortunately. Right, let me get it. We outline it, put some black background. Thank you, motivator. I do my best. I do my best. An Interview with Evil, and then it's like, okay, it's just this is not what your typical creepypasta thumbnail looks like. It's just 2 lines. Like what? Usually at least 4 lines. So now it'll be like, I found the journal. Shit, all this is too big. I found the journal of a World War II. And now maybe we can, of a World War II interview with evil. So then you're like, okay, how does that look? How does it fit? How does it line up with the text or with the image? Let's go ahead and edit this image. See if there's a better like color we can put on it, filter wise. No, too dark, too blue. Bali is not bad. Makes it pop a little bit more. Okay, I like that. That might be what we use. Yeah, I think we go with Bali. All right, here. Nothing. Gotta start getting ready for work. Love y'all. See ya. See ya, Amanda. Have a good day at work. Thank you for being here. No sleep titles be like, I staycation in Manitoba was going great until I discovered a Loch Ness Yeti with diabetes and a thing for the office. Exactly, man. I was on an alt account and I actually got a ban from No Sleep, which is unfortunate because it means that my main account can't comment or. I got banned off No Sleep on my alt account because No Sleep authors make the dumbest. I mean, it's not the author's fault. It's No Sleep's fault. Like no lie, No Sleep titles now are like, I went to Taco Bell at 3 a.m. I shit my brains out and a squirming changeling popped on the floor. Like that's what No Sleep titles are like now. Like some of them are disgusting, some of them are foul, some are gross, and they're just to. It's all like YouTube. It's clickability. You got to have like the most eye-catching title, and you'll see like I shit my brains out from Taco Bell, and that's like the first part of the title, and it's like ugh, it's just gross. Or it's like you'll try to see like sexual innuendos in titles, and I'm like, and so then I commented on one of these, and I was like, why the fuck? And you have to stay in character on No Sleep, right? So they'll ban you for that. Period. And then I said like, why the fuck do authors put these stupid ass titles on here? And then my ass got banned. And then I just ended up deleting that account years ago, and then I asked to get unbanned because my main account can't post to No Sleep. And they're like, well, because you deleted the account that got banned, we can't unban you because that. So now you're just fucked. And I'm like, whatever. All right, now I'm looking at. And it's just so annoying. Like seeing titles like that are just fucking. They're like disgraceful. They make it a joke. It's like that's why no one takes No Sleep serious anymore. When you have, uh, just how you said with Dexter, like I found a Sasquatch. He gave me diabetes after he impregnated me. Uh, then an alien probed my ass. Like that's the kind of titles you have on No Sleep now. The rule of staying in character drives me nuts. That doesn't actually drive me too nuts. I think it's kind of because I think that's kind of cool. But it's like whatever. Like it does suck because you can't comment on certain aspects of the story and what you liked. But No Sleep is garbage anyways anymore. Like No Sleep is horrible. People don't post there like they used to. People No Sleep has a stick up their ass. They think they're the best, and they put these. I talked with in DMs with authors all the time. Like I stopped posting to No Sleep because of the rules. I stopped posting because my paragraph formatting was off in one paragraph, and they deleted my story. I did this, and they deleted over and over. I get these comments from authors talking about that. But that title I gave you is an actual title from one of my videos. um, yeah, there's like now. See, that title is actually not that bad because it's indicative that it's a comedy pasta, which is cool. Um, but the No Sleep titles are just ridiculous, and the rules are bad. They hem authors in, and it's not as bad as it used to be, but it still is. Like, but if you listen to like creepypasta narrations from 5 years ago, they almost all of them ubiquitously end with the entity is knocking on my door. I'm scared. I'm typing this out and posting this to the far reaches of the internet for someone to help. Right? Because it's like the person has to have a way that they posted the story to the internet or to the world. So half of the stories of horror stories in there end with, "I'm posting this to the internet. Please send help." And it's like it's just so fucking dumb. It makes every story end the same way or with the same cliffhanger or with this or they all start the same way. It's awful. That's why I spend a lot more time on the creepypasta page But that one's getting fucked up because there's just AI stories all over, like the creepypasta subreddit, because they don't care. And I have a very good eye for determining that. So I'll see comments like, I love this story, so awesome, yay. And I'm like, guys, this shit is AI. But I get submitted that stuff. So I read for a living for this. So I can easily tell what an AI story is. Nice, Dex, nice. Um, I'm kind of liking the title here that I came up with. It's not too long. It's formatted in a pretty normal way, but this makes it look kind of silly. So it's like now you have a serious title and now you have a silly thumbnail. So now they're oh great. Did my internet cut out? It says OBS reconnecting. Oh, I'm dropping frames. I see. Did my internet cut? Oh great. Did my oh come on. Here, I'm turning on OBS reconnecting. I'm turning on my hotspot. Oh, I'm dropping frames. I see. Did my internet cut? Oh, great. Oh, come. Y'all gonna hear some echoes here for a minute because I'm listening through the browser, so it's going back in between my OBS and my microphone and YouTube. Okay, it looks like it's settling back. Internet just sucks, but we this is like we went like 2 weeks with like no issues, which is impressive. Let's see. Let me check something real quick. Comment just on a regular video. This is one of my favorites. Commented on the Delivery Man story. I'm a delivery man for the occult. People love that one. That's one of my best series so far. A comment on the Keeper story. Been a hot minute since I've heard a non-comedy pasta alien story. This was good. Well done, Nightmares and Dubak. Look at that. Nice. All right, let me go ahead. Let me start reading something because I don't think we're gonna stream much longer. Um, unless we get 10 more dollars in donos, and then I can play the 30-minute DNA test story. But if not, we're gonna record just a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna head out for the night. All right. Now I just gotta pick. Now I gotta pick which story. All right, that's a 3-parter right there. It destroys a good story if it ends like that. Are you like 3 minutes behind, 3 or 4 minutes behind, Motivator? Because I was talking about that a little while ago. Or it could be me. It could still be my internet, but I think I'm all caught up now. No, it's all good, Keeper. I appreciate it, but yeah, I do the. No, I just don't like it like that. I kind of just would prefer. It's not bad. I kind of want a one on the desk, but it having the text here ended up covering up the boom arm, which ended up being fine. Now that I have enough text to do it, but yeah. And if it wouldn't, then I would just get ChatGPT to edit it out and fix it. Let's see. Thank you though. All right, let's do A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. In the December of 1984, a study found in the... already fucking up. A study found in the British Medical Journal, Volume 289, suggested that the full moon increased criminal behavior due to human tidal waves, whatever that means. Something about gravity and water in the body. However, ever since the article debuted, there have been debates regarding the validity of such a claim. Some suggest that due to moonlight conditions during full moons, misconduct is more likely to occur. Others, a whopping 7 to 9%, depending on which bias you hold, believe that the full moon can transform certain individuals into actual werewolves. All of that to say, no one really knows what the hell is going on, do they? And so our story begins. Now, one thing with stories, it's kind of there's all these things you got to think of when narrating, because it's like, do you say chapter 1? Because this isn't an audiobook, you know. It's like, but it's hard to delineate between different perspectives, and when the story changes with an audiobook or with an audio reading, when you don't say chapter 1. But I don't like to say chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, because it breaks immersion to an extent. But then if you don't, then people don't know that perspectives change or that it went to a different area or something like that. So I'll probably just say it. Story begins. Chapter 1. The Pharmacist and the Druggie. That button. It sets off every phone in the pharmacy. That stupid, obnoxious drive-through button that people can't help but press. He had pressed it 2. Make that 3 times now. Oh, I miss already. This drive-through button that people can't help but press. He had already pressed it 2. Make that 3 times now. And he just pressed it again. Seriously? 4? Maybe it was a prank. A practical joke. It had to be. No sane. He pressed it again. Okay, maybe it was urgent. Hello? Hello? Hey! The man rapped his knuckles against the thick glass window. I kind of gave him an annoying voice because I think this guy's gonna be annoying. And rapped his knuckles against the thick glass window. The knocking was I waited too long. The knocking was so loud that it sounded painful, almost like his knuckles were about to start bleeding if the pharmacist didn't show up. No one ever knocked that hard, unless they were a user, which would have made sense given the hour. Hi, yes, that button works, thank you. The clearly betrodden pharmacist leaned away from the microphone and pinched between his eyes, atop his nose. That's kind of a weird comma there. Yes, that button works, thank you. The clearly betrodden pharmacist leaned away from the microphone and pinched between his eyes atop his nose, pulling that gunk from the sagging skin around them. He flicked it out the window. Gross. Skin around. Yeah, Motivator. You are like 3 or 4 minutes behind, because now that one just came in, that message saying that. But I think it could have been my fault because the internet got a little jumpy, but just letting you know. Skin around them. He flicked it out the window. And that's when he noticed it. The man wasn't in a car, rather he was just standing there, just out of reach of the fluorescent light that shone down onto the oil-stained concrete. Sir, the pharmacist said, once again leaning back into the microphone. This is a drive-through. Yeah, and? And you're not driving. This drive-through is for vehicles only. I don't have one. Can I come inside? No, we're closed, the pharmacist groaned. But you can come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's late. Look, I just need this refilled, okay? It's an emergency. All right, I'll say this pharmacist is a fucking douchebag. You're gonna not service this guy just because he's walking through the drive-thru? It's refill it, okay? It's an emergency. The shadowy refill it, okay? It's an emergency. The shadowy man stretched out his long, bony arm, crisscrossed with deep edges across the wrist, until it reached the metal drive-thru drop-off box and dumped on an empty pill crisscrossed with deep edges across the wrist, until it reached the metal crisscrossed with deep edges across the wrist, until it reached the metal drive-thru drop-off box and dumped an empty pill container inside, letting it clink around with echoed rattles. This lengthy stretch gave the pharmacist enough time to get a good glimpse at the man, who, at that moment, was cast in the harsh and fluorescent overhead light. He definitely looked like a user. Disheveled hair, dark rings around his sunken eyes, and a 5 o'clock shadow that clearly missed the 5 o'clock memo. It was 7:45 now, and the sun was slowly trading places with the full moon above. And for whatever reasons, the moon... the moon. And for whatever reasons, the moon was really setting the guy off. He couldn't keep his bugged out eyes off of it as he fiddled around with the buttons down his shirt and religiously checked the watch across his scabby wrist. "Please, hurry!" he spat, some hitting the glass window. "Will do, the pharmacist began, as he glanced at the name on the bottle. "Scott? Just hang tight, okay?" The man nodded, but clearly wasn't hanging tight all too well. He looked like he was going to have a seizure. Maybe he was having a seizure. All right, gents. Just feeling a little tapped out here. This one wasn't a normal, long, recording session. Sheep and wolves. But I did a lot of recording earlier today and stuff. I just feel like wrapping it up a little bit early tonight. Keeper just in time for me, man. I'm heading out too. Yeah, I'm gonna be heading out early tonight, a little 2.5 hour stream. But thank you everybody for being around tonight. I appreciate y'all being here and coming out. The next live stream will, of course, be next Monday at 7 o'clock. It should be. I get back from the bachelor trip stuff, I think Sunday. So as long as, I'm not too busy that day and Monday, I should have a stream like normal on next Monday at 7. I might consider the streams. They take a lot of time and they don't really make much money, although I appreciate every cent that comes in, so I might have to start going back to work on Mondays, so I might actually move the streams back to 9 p.m. on Monday nights. I don't know, just a thought, maybe. Plus, it lines up a little bit better with my baby daughter's sleep schedule, so that also might be a reason why I knock it back to 9. We'll see how it goes in the future, though. But every Monday, stream every Monday, and then Tribal Jail Part 2 comes out tomorrow. Then the complete version will be out like a month from now. You gotta put time in between putting parts and then the final part out, just because of how YouTube works. The whole thing has been on Patreon for a while. But thank you all, everybody, for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support, the donations, and the kind words, and keeping the chat alive. And as always, thanks for listening, everybody.